Okay, so what we're going to be working on today is determining whether or not a function is even or odd. So I want you to try to recall from last year from geometry when you guys did transformations, a rotation of 180 degrees, which we're going to talk about right over here, and a reflection in the y-axis, which is right here. So hopefully you remember when you reflect something over the y-axis, it's a mirror image. So the rule, hopefully remember, is when you have x, y, the rule for reflection over the y-axis is xy becomes negative x, positive y. Okay? So if I have 3, 5, 3, 5 will become negative 3, comma 5. So let's just take a look at this now. Notice the x values. Look at the x values here. The x values are opposite. And look at the y values. My y values are the same. Alright, so remember, when you have a reflection over the y-axis, so I'm just going to do a quick graph of this, 3, 5. So there's 3, 5. And when I reflect over the y-axis and I get negative 3, 5, that's over here, the points are symmetrical to the y-axis. It's a mirror image. So that's something that we have to remember. So this is symmetrical to the y-axis. Okay? And let's just take a look over here at the rotation of 180 degrees. So remember, the rotation of 180 degrees would be when you took your paper and you turned it upside down. So if you remember what the rule is, hopefully you do, xy becomes negative x, negative y. So 3, 5 becomes negative 3, negative 5. So notice that the x values are opposite, but so are the y values. The y values are also opposite. So on the graph, if we look at this graph quickly, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's 3, 5, and then we have negative 3, negative 5, which would be right over here. Okay, so that's actually a rotation. It's a turn of 180 degrees. So if I took my paper and I turned it upside down, where my point starts when I turn my paper upside down, it's actually in this blue point is in the same place. It'll be now in quadrant 1, okay, at 3, 5. Okay, so over here, just some quick notes over here. Okay, so we have a even function is a reflection over the y-axis. So the rule is xy becomes negative x, comma y. And therefore, the graph is symmetrical to the y-axis. And then we have our odd function. Our odd function is the rotation of 180 degrees. So xy becomes negative x, negative y. All right, so now how do we determine if a function is even or odd? So the first thing you're going to do, so step 1, is find f of x. Now what you're going to do is you're going to pick a number. So you pick a number. You're going to pick a number for x. And then what you're going to do is find f of negative x. So notice that what I have up here is x and this is negative x. So they have to be opposites. So whatever you plugged in for x over here, you have to do opposite of that. You have to do the inverse. Okay, so you have to plug in opposite the x value you plugged in for number 1. Okay, so let's take a look over here. Let's try that now. All right, so I have f of x is equal to x squared plus 4x minus 5. So I want to determine whether it's odd, even, neither, and then I want to determine and just state why. Your y's are going to be symmetrical to the y-axis or a rotation of 180 degrees. You could also say reflection over the y-axis. All right, so let's start with f of, now we're going to pick a number. I'm going to pick 2. Why 2? Why not 2? All right, so I'm going to plug in 2 for each x value. So I have 2 squared plus 4 times 2 minus 5. Now you could plug that right into your calculator, and what you get is 6. Now you have to do that same number 2, but opposite of that. So f of negative 2. And you're going to plug that in. Negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 minus 5, and you get negative 9. Now, what do you notice about these? They are different. So when they are different, so I just need to move this. Okay, so take a look down here. So if the results are equal, then the function is even. So you think even, equal. If the results are opposites, then the function is odd. Opposites, odd. If you get any other types of results after you evaluate, then it's neither even or odd. So since these are two completely different numbers, they're not the same and they're not opposites, this function is neither even nor odd. So we'll write down the function is neither even or odd because, that's a C, it is not symmetrical to the y-axis, and it is not a rotation of 180 degrees. Okay, that's really what you have to do. Is just have to pick two numbers, okay, but they do have to be opposite numbers. You plug them in, you evaluate, and see what you get. If they're equal, then my function is even. If the numbers are opposites, then the function is odd. If it's neither equal or opposites, then it's neither even nor odd. All right, so let's try the other problems. Okay, so now I'm looking at f of x is equal to 8x cubed, sorry, 8x squared, minus 2x to the 4th power. All right, so I'm going to pick this time f of 3. So it's 8 times 3 squared minus 2 times 3 to the 4th power. You can plug that into your calculator, you get negative 90. Now we're going to do f of negative 3. Remember, they have to be the same number, but opposites. So it's 8 times negative 3 squared. Make sure you're using parentheses around this when you plug this into your calculator. Minus 2 times negative 3 to the 4th power. Plug that into your calculator, you get negative 90. So what do you notice about these? These are equal. So equal, so think equal, even. So now we're going to write down my function is, so it's an even function because it is symmetrical to the y-axis. That's it. All right, let's try number 3. All right, so here's number 3. We have f of x is equal to x squared times x minus 4. We'll pick a different number to plug in. Let's try f of 4. F of 4. So I have 4 squared times 4 minus 4. You can plug that in your calculator and you get 0. Now we have to do f of negative 4. So it's negative 4 squared times negative 4 minus 4, which comes out to be negative 128. So these are completely different. So it's neither even nor odd. So we'll write the function is neither even or odd because it is not symmetrical to the y-axis, and it is not a rotation of 180 degrees. All right, so let's try number 4. All right, so I have here f of x is equal to x times x minus 2 squared times x plus 2 squared. So I'm going to go back to f of 2 here. So I have 2 times 2 minus 2 squared times 2 plus 2 squared. This actually comes out to be, so plug in your calculator. This comes out to be 0. And then we're going to do f of negative 2. So that's negative 2 times negative 2 minus 2 squared times negative 2 plus 2 squared. And this also comes out to be 0. So notice they are equal. Equal, even. So the function is an even function because it is symmetrical to the y-axis. Period. Okay, so that's it. So I will see you guys tomorrow and have a good night.